Ni hao, it's Stephanie. I have been a very, very bad person. I raided a stationery store today. It wasn't even a stationery store, sorry. I raided Daiso, which is this Japanese dollar store that's all over a lot of Asia, and they have a lot of stores in Shanghai, and so we just accidentally walked by one, so I had to go in. Here's what I found. Na, 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 na. Look, it's actually a box. So my Lightner box is actually back to being a box. Let me show you what's inside. I don't know why I have those there. Okay, so I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't have level 7 yet because nothing's reached level 7. There's a substantial amount in number 6. So when 7 hits, I'll have to replace it. Right now I have new deck, which are some cards that I wrote already, but I haven't fed them into level 1 yet. I'm trying not to overwhelm myself with putting too many cards in there at a time. So there's that. And then I have like random stationery. I have a pencil and the tiny eraser that I'm starting to hate because it's so tiny I keep losing it. And I have rubber bands in here. Well, actually, I find that hair clips are less annoying than rubber bands. So I have a bunch of hair, not clips, what do we call it? Like elastic hair thingies. I find these are easier to use. They're not as rough on me or on the cards. So I have a bunch of those because what happens is now, and I don't know exactly where to put the chart anymore because maybe somewhere on the side. I don't know. I have to put it somewhere. I'll probably roll it up and put it in the new area. So every day I check, and whichever one, like today, was 3 and 1. So if I were to actually take my cards out with me to practice at some point during the day, like I spend a lot of time in coffee shops, so if I wanted to do this as part of what I do in coffee shops, I would take 3 and one of the hair bands and take 1 and part of the hair bands and just shove them into my bag. And that's all I carry around for the whole day. Because as you can see, there's too many cards now to carry around. There's just too many. So my Lightner bag was really nice when I was just doing HSK1. It was without any of the confusion cards that I had or anything like that. But now it's too big. Now I'm going to have HSK1 and hopefully within the next week, HSK2 ready to go. I want to have all the cards done before I leave on vacation on Thursday for a week. Because I want to not create new cards during vacation, but I want to introduce new cards during or into level 1 during vacation. And in order to do that, I need to work too much tomorrow on the cards in order to be ready for vacation. Okay, so I'm pretty excited about this, and I have a new dresser bookshelf that I was thinking of buying anyway, and this would fit very nicely on one of the shelves. So every day I just look at the chart. If I want to practice, I can just take this over to wherever I'm practicing, and if I don't, I can use these guys to take them with me. Ha! I'm pretty excited. This was kind of the shape I was dreaming of when I first heard about a Lightner box. And then the envelopes worked pretty well for a while too. I like the ability to write all over the envelopes, but it just got too big, and the envelopes created a clunkiness that was not necessary. So the evolution of the Lightner box continues. I don't know how long this will hold. I imagine if it gets pretty bad, they could go like this, and then they could have all of, you can't see that side, sorry. They could go this way, and so I could have this whole space for each level. So this could conceivably work for quite some time. Ideally in the Lightner box schedule, it's 64 days, and after it reaches levels, the flashcard reaches level 7, it's supposed to come out of the box. Because HSK2 includes the vocabulary from 1 and 2, when my current HSK stuff, for example, all this stuff in level 6 right now, when it gets to level 7 and leaves level 7, I'm just going to put it right back into 1 because I want to keep reviewing these because I'm taking the HSK1 test and the HSK2 test in the next couple of months, so I want to keep reviewing them. Again, normally you would take them out and you would review them infrequently, because they're supposed to be in your long-term memory by then, but for me, because the test is coming, I want to just keep putting them back in. So I'm going to have quite a bit of cards in this creature, but I'm pretty confident. It's a pretty sturdy structure. It's got holes in the bottom that I don't think, oh, there you go, you can see. It's got these. That might come in handy because it gets very, very moist in summer here, so that might be kind of nice. So instead of it sitting in a enclosed box collecting dampness, it can breathe. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It doesn't have a lid. It was just sitting like this in the store. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but I think it makes a pretty cool looking liner box. I am so glad those did not fall out. I could not tell you the sorrow that would ensue if they were to get out of order at this point, because I would not really remember which one was in which. Oh my god. Alright, so that is the Lightner box update. It actually is back to being a box. Go figure. Some ponderings I've written on this envelope with the schedule on it. I have 2 ponderings about other tweaks that I might do for the box. Oh my gosh, I've actually done one of them, is adding the dates to the new cards, again, to track how long it takes them to go through, and is there any difference with the ones that have a lot of many strokes versus the ones that have very few strokes. Is there a difference in how long it takes them to get from level 1 through level 7? The other one is add parts of speech. I haven't done anything with this one yet because from what I understand, and again, I'm not studying grammar, I'm just studying language. Does that make sense? I'm not consciously studying grammar, I'm just going through the listening and the reading and the list, and I'm going through the HSK material, but I'm not actually doing any of the prep lessons. I'm kind of using the test materials and the practice materials to learn the language and the sentence structures, but I'm not actually studying the sentence structures. I may have to at some point. I'm completely comfortable with that if it reaches the point where I have to sit down with a grammar book, but if I cannot do that, I think that's even better for me. For me, nothing I say relates to, okay, I don't believe that anything that I'm saying for my language learning relates to or is something that everybody should do. That is by far the one thing I want to make sure I keep reiterating, is that these things are working for me. They may or may not work for you when you're studying Chinese, and if they do work and I can spread some joy and alleviate some stress in learning this language, then by all means, yay! And if they don't, then discard them and go do something else, because this is a very individual process. Yeah, so there's that. So for me, learning more from the discovery method of seeing the language in its real form, and then trying to figure out the rules or figure out when things are used and how to create sentences, that helps me learn a language infinitely more than looking at the grammar and then doing exercises using that grammar. The explicit approach does not work for me at all in any language ever. It never has. And to go that route again, consciously, would just be recreating my past failures. And I have enough past failures to not, in this and other areas of my life, to not really want to do that ever again. So I'm going down a different route. I feel like the longer I do these videos, the more Canadian my voice gets. What do you think? I didn't have any clue that I had any Canadian sounding vowels until I started to do this. It's probably the New York and Pennsylvania thing, but I didn't even realize that I had any Canadian sounding vowels at all until I started to do this channel. And now I feel like I have expressions that I didn't even know, and I feel like there's other sounds that I do that I didn't even realize I do. Like, I thought I had a pretty flat West Coast accent, even though that's not where I grew up. I feel like all of the accents around me as a kid kind of canceled each other out. See that? Can you hear that? What the heck is that? Where did that come from? Have I done that my whole life? I don't know. Yeah, because I had my Italian parents, and then I had the Pennsylvania Dutch accent around me in Pennsylvania, and then I had tons of different accents in New York. And then I feel like those things just cancel each other out, and I just ended up with flat and boring. I actually wanted a Fran Drescher, New York accent. When we moved to Pennsylvania, I was just like, I want to sound like I'm a New Yorker. I want to sound like I'm a New Yorker. Not really realizing the class differentiation between her accent and other New Yorker accents. I was young. I was 8.5. Anyway, I have gone off on a really weird tangent about accents when I'm talking about learning to read using the Lightner box that I just showed you. Anyway, take that for what you will. Yeah, so that's my update. Satyen.